Let's get down to business. Thanks for coming out tonight.
I wrote me a manual, a step-by-step booklet for you to get.
Oh, I make money move.
You can't see me, my time is now.
Welcome back to another edition of the MassiveJoes show, Fitness Times at Business. We have one hell of an episode for you guys today. I'm here in Costa Mesa in Los Angeles, United States of America, and I'm here with HPN CEO, Sean Torbati. What's happening, Sean?
What's up, Joe?
I'm here with the famous Mike Rashid. I don't even know how to introduce
Infamous.
you. Infamous, we can go with infamous. CEO of a whole bunch of companies that we're going to get to in a second. Fellas, thank you for being on the show. It's always good to see you guys down in, obviously you when I'm in LA, Sean.
Yeah.
This is where you are, and it just so happens that Mike's in town as well.
Yeah, this is a coincidence.
Yeah.
But, you know, we got our court situation squared away.
Yeah.
I'm glad that worked out. We got to see George over at the Best Buy.
The famous George.
We
Famous
did.
George.
We did. And just to clarify that, so I wanted to do a podcast with Sean. So I bought two mics and all set up to do a two-person podcast. And then Sean's like, "Hey man, Mike's going to be in town. We should do a three-person podcast." So I'm like, "Man, if you got the microphones, we can make it happen." And we had to go on a little bit of a hunt to find the right cord to plug one of Sean's mics into this receiver. But here we are. All right, fellas, fitness times business. We're going to start with fitness. I want to get a little bit of a background so the listeners as well have a bit of a background to your kind of fitness background and how that fits into things. Then we're going to move into the business side of things. We're going to get your main piece of fitness advice, and then we're going to have a good chat about business because that's where we kind of get into the real interesting, exciting side of this podcast. So, Sean, kick us off, man. Fitness background, what does it look like?
Well, it's interesting when you talk about fitness times business. I think a lot of people in the space right now saw a business opportunity from their fitness, and then developed it from there.
Yeah.
I saw a fitness opportunity, and before there was a business opportunity. You've been on the road. We say something, which is that I was born for this. And when I was 7 years old is the first time I ever saw someone's life change from health and wellness. My mom is a dietitian, so my second grade teacher, Miss Chesney, I don't know how she's doing right now. I hope she's out there and alive and well, and still teaching. She was a great teacher, like a great teacher. She made me interested in history. She made me interested in Egypt. Like, she was someone who really got my mind going on a curiosity level. But she was overweight. She was out of shape. She would be like, we would be, playing active games in the classroom. She would be huffing and puffing, and she was not healthy. And parent-teacher conferences come around, we're in there, and she's, talking about that I'm doing a really good job. I'm 7 years old, basically I'm coloring in the lines and shit and staying awake. And we were learning about stuff that fascinated me, so it was easy. It wasn't work for me in second grade. But my mom, because she knew how much I loved this teacher, every day I would be talking about this teacher, how much I loved her. My mom was like, "Hey, it's none of my business," but my mom took this step forward because that's how she is. She said, "Hey, it's none of my business, but if you want help to lose some weight, I would love to help you with that." Because my mom works in the hospital setting where everyone who is seeing her on a daily basis doesn't want to be seeing her. They have no interest in losing weight or being healthy. They're there because it's part of their requirement to get their medication or whatever it is that they want. If they want to do that, they have to go to an appointment with her. So it's almost disheartening and depressing. I remember seeing my mom some days be so frustrated because she cares and wants to help people, but in this clinical setting, this hospital setting, these people have no actual interest, a lot of them. They don't want to change anything about their lives. They want everything to stay the same. She would look people in their eye and tell them that if you continue with what you're doing, eating the way you're eating, living the way you're living, you are going to die. You are going to have a heart attack. You are going to have heart disease. You're going to become diabetic. People who are diabetic, you are going to have a limb amputated. You are losing feeling in your feet right now. They're going to cut your feet off if you keep doing this. And they will look her in the eye and be like, "Well, I guess they're going to have to take my feet. I guess they're going to take my leg." They do not want to change because at a certain point in time, guys, when you get down a path, we've never been there, when you get down a path deep enough, you don't care anymore. You don't care anymore?
Can I
Yeah,
interject real
yeah.
quick? I get that, but think about it. I've been thinking about this a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of understand why they're like that. When people are obese, overweight, or whatever, they keep going down that dark road, and they're not looking back. It's hard for them. It makes sense. I mean, we as human beings are essentially animals, and our primary function is to eat, sleep, reproduce, start over.
I would even say, to simplify it, to survive and reproduce.
Right.
We eat and sleep to survive.
Right, exactly. So the eating is a huge part of that. So it's like there were times every day, just like we're going to get into the business stuff, but with business, you can't slack off. Every day it's a hustle, right? Because your competitors are doing something today. You can't take a day off, right? It's like that with everything, with surviving, working out. All right, I got swole, I'm done. All right, now it's going away, right? The same with eating food. So there were times when we were hunting, gathering, foraging for food, for sustenance, to where you go a week without eating. That was real, right? So when we ate, I mean, we got so many, pleasure sensors in our brain.
Yeah, the psychological
responses to give us motivation to keep going to find food, right? So now we live in a time to where we have an abundance of food and food-like substance, because most of this shit isn't food, right? It tastes good and it makes people feel good, right? So not everybody is strong enough to have that will to be like, all right, this is enough. You know what I'm saying? So think about when kids hit a piñata. They're trying to rush and get. Nobody's like, I'll get 2 pieces, thank you. They're trying to get as much as they can get. And it's the same with adults, man. And I feel bad for them. I don't look down on people that's overweight like that and don't want help. It's hard. You know what I mean? When you get the fatty, delicious, sweet, sour, whatever these crazy, unnatural flavors that really satisfy our taste buds, it makes sense to not stop, to keep going. You know what I mean? But I'm sorry.
No, that's true, and they are really far down the path, and it just seems like too much work to get out of there. But nonetheless, my mother really wants to help these people. But one thing that, as humans we like to do is we like to have our work be resulting in outcomes. We like to have the effort we put in return positively. So being that there is a very low success rate with people like that is somewhat depressing. So whenever my mom had a chance to help a family member, a relative, a friend, whomever she could, in this case my teacher, she would want to do it. And so, because she had a passion for helping people. And so she helped my teacher lose like 50 pounds in like a 6-month time period before I finished 2nd grade. And I saw how it changed her life. Like, she even became a better teacher. She could do more. She had more energy every day. Because some days she would be tired, or she would just, not be right. Everything got better for her. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. And I was too young to really even understand what I was seeing. But I think that's when it was planted. I've decided not long ago that was when it was planted. But then when that seed that was planted in me really like blew up, really sprouted, was when I was a little bit older. My brother was diagnosed with heart disease when I was 15. He was 7 years older, so here he's 22. They're saying that he's gonna live like maybe 1 more year. It was a genetic disorder that he had with his heart, but he was also extremely overweight. And all of a sudden I'm realizing that, man, if he wasn't so overweight, his heart wouldn't have to work as hard. A lot of things would be better for him, but he was also far down that path, eating fast food, drinking soda, living a lifestyle that wasn't healthy at all. And I didn't have, at this time, when I'm 15, I didn't really have the tools. I didn't have the knowledge or the expertise or authority to really step in. I was just starting to work out for myself because of wrestling. I was very interested in how can I manipulate my body, but no one's listening to me. I'm 15 years old, and he's literally dying. I wanted to help so bad. I even tried to say stuff, but no one really cared at that point what I had to say. So I buried myself in books, and I learned everything I could. And my brother did pass away. He did die 2 years later. He lived longer than he was supposed to, but still not long enough. So I decided at that point, I am going to spend the rest of my life trying to help any way I can other people live healthier lives. There was no desire to help people be bodybuilders. There was no desire to help people be the most shredded or just the most strong or any of these singular characteristics that you see people like selling out for, going all in for. It was a desire to help them get healthier and live more well lives, because I knew that if they could do that, if I could position them physically, then they could really work on the rest of their lives more effectively. They could have more energy to attack everything else. So from there, I had to acquire knowledge to do it. So in school, I studied human nutrition, but then after school, just continuing my education with any type of additional learning I could do in order to bring more value to the table, whether it was anatomical stuff or nutrition science stuff, food science stuff, and then even more recently, coaching stuff. So I can understand the psychology of how I need to talk to people, how I need to work with people. And that's transcended even health. That's even like as an employer.
Yeah.
But like when I'm talking to people, be it a consumer or a client, consumer of HPN products or a nutrition client, because I do nutrition still, because it's my passion, I know how to talk to them and tap into what I need them to do more effectively now, how to cue them. So if they're making mistakes, how to tell them to correct it in a way that is going to lead to better success. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm spending all my time doing at this point, trying to become better at that.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting actually, because a lot of people in the supplement, quote unquote, supplement side of the industry, get their start in health and fitness from a performance supplementation perspective, whereas your start was really from a more holistic health and well-being perspective. So it's cool to kind of see how that has filtered through to where you are and what you're doing today.
We're gonna get into the business side later, but I think I shortchanged myself for the first few years of this business development by putting myself in the sports nutrition category when I really didn't belong there. I never fit in there, honestly. And for some reason, I just thought that was the cool group. I thought that was the cool group, and I thought that's where I needed to be.
Yeah.
And I realized a few years in that they had nothing to offer me. They were doing things I thought all wrong. And ever since I've changed directions and course corrected, that's when my life has really, and business has started to manifest into what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Mike.
Yes, sir.
Your fitness background, man. Now you've done, I'm sure a lot of listeners have, I follow you on a few different forms of social media, whether that be YouTube or Instagram or, everything that you're all over, and you've had a lot of fitness experience.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it, man.
I've always been an active kid growing up. As far back as I can remember, I was doing pull-ups and push-ups and racing kids outside. And, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and we played every sport you can play outside in the parks and playgrounds in the neighborhoods. So I've always been an active kid. I believe I started lifting weights around the age of 12. And I also had my first amateur boxing match at the age of 12. Everything started at 12, I feel like. All my organized sports.
Life started at 12.
Organized sports, right? So I played basketball. I played Little League baseball, high school baseball. I played basketball. But the one thing two really that stuck with me the most was the strength training and boxing. It was more boxing. The strength training came from a space of wanting to be strong, wanting to be stronger. And
was that wanting to be stronger for boxing?
Yeah, and just strong, period. Because I was skinny. I was a skinny kid.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to run faster. I wanted to be stronger. I grew up in an era, like these kids got Hey Arnold or whatever. I had He-Man. You know what I mean?
For real.
I had G.I. Joe. I had wrestling. Back then it was WWF. Aging myself.
Before the pandas.
Yeah.
Right, but now the WWE, and I had Hulk Hogan and Junkyard Dog and Ultimate Warrior, so Rocky. So these are the things that I'm looking at, pop culture wise. So of course, as a young, impressionable kid, you want to be like what you see on TV every day.
Of course.
So my father, I would have to say that seed, it was already in me, but he nurtured it, because my father, he lived a very healthy lifestyle for the most part as well. My father was always into, like, we used to go to the market and get fruit. He was juicing, fresh juice all the time. My father, I eat once a day. I adapted that last year. My father's been eating once a day for years, right? And my father is 72 and doesn't look it. You know what I mean? So my father's, that's who he was. And they say the fruit don't fall far from the tree. So as I got older, I cannot tell you a period of my life when I wasn't training in some capacity. Every group of friends that I had, I'm the ringleader with getting everybody to the gym. Yeah. So, and it would suck because I wouldn't see certain friends for a couple years, come back, they stopped. You know what I mean? So it's funny though, because as time goes on, as I age, the friends that I have now still, throughout all my years of meeting people, are the ones who either didn't stop or they were already on some workout, healthier vibes when I met them. So it's funny how that all comes into play. But anyway, so as I got older, boxing was like the main thing. As you get older, boxing is a very, very difficult sport, and it takes away all of your social time, right? So you quite naturally you would rebel a little bit, quit, come back, quit, come back. The older you got, when you quit and come back, it's harder because you have to fight that much harder to get your endurance right and to get your weight down to where it needs to be, because boxing is all broken up by weight categories. And typically people will measure their height and kind of put themselves in a weight category where their height would be an advantage. Yeah. Okay, so, but if you're laid off for a while and you put on 20, 30 pounds, it's really hard to get back down.
Off. Yeah.
So I was dealing with stuff like that. However, I was making it happen. And my final year as an amateur boxer, we was like, okay, we're gonna take this to the next level. I was around some really legit people that wanted to help shape my career as a professional. And the first excuse that came to me for me to stop, I hopped on it. Excuse in a form of a opportunity, right? So it was an opportunity that, it wasn't realistic that it would have been a life-changing, game-changing opportunity, but on paper it's kind of seemed like that. So I'm gonna take this, I'm good. And then boxing just fell to the wayside for me. It's funny because after that, I couldn't even watch, as much as I love boxing, I couldn't watch boxing for like 3-4 years. Yeah. I couldn't watch it because there was people that I knew in the amateurs that I was way better than that was making millions of dollars. Wasn't even that good, but it's not about that. It was about, they were disciplined, they were in shape, and they're there. They're doing what they got to do. They may not be the world champ, but they're getting 7-figure paydays. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, shh. So it killed me, but then I got over it, and I got back into, being a fan, and, it was good being a fan. Then, when I started when fitness as we know it kind of engulfed me, because I never went seeking it, probably around 2010, 2011, at this time in my life, I was bouncing around, trying to figure out what I'm doing. Didn't really have it together. And then, exploring the world, literally on my own. So then I'm like, I need to get my shit together. So I got a job at Gold's Gym as a personal trainer. And, excuse me, I knew how to train. I've been doing it all my life, but I didn't know how to sell training. I didn't know that was part of it, and that's the big part of it. So I was like, man, how am I gonna ask somebody for $65 for an hour? Yeah. And the membership is $39 for a month. I was like, I can't do this. But once I figured it out, it was good, right? And I was the #1 guy, right, in the region. So, but I was getting people their results. I'm not you're giving me, I don't care if you give me $5, $5 or $500 for me to guide you through a workout or get you in shape, I take that very serious. And I'm honored that you think that much of me to pay me to train me. So I went all out with all of my clients. I fell in love with it, man. Like your mom had the lady who lost 50 pounds. I had a lady named Jane. Shout out to Jane. Jane was, when she came to me, she was about to get a gastric bypass, but before that operation, you still need to lose about 20 pounds, right?
Yeah.
So they sent her to a trainer. She came to get a trainer. So just looking at her, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, her knees kind of caved in, her feet, like everything was off, right? You could tell she never did anything physical in her life. So I said, all right, let's start, right? So I just went through the motions with her. I wrote out a loose diet, right? Because I'm not a nutritionist, and you're not supposed to really write out nutrition plans when you're not a nutritionist. But I kind of gave her an idea of how she should be eating, and then the training, you know, I walked her through, and just the basics, because I'm big on the basics, right? Just the basics. And she was getting better and better and better and better. And it's an addicting feeling. You know, when you're overweight and you're trying to lose weight, that very beginning, and I always tell people, it's gonna be the hardest. You're not used to it. Everything's gonna hurt. You're not gonna see results that fast. And you're gonna see all of these in shape, fit people around you. You're not gonna wanna be around them. You're insecure, but you gotta stick with it. It's gonna come off. So, and that started happening. And she came out to be like, if you put her up there with all the other fit chicks, she fits right in now. You know what I mean? And it was so cool. Like, she lost over 100 pounds.
Yeah.
It was so cool to me to see her having a social life, dating, happy, just a whole new person.
Yeah.
Right? And I got like you to where, first of all, I didn't even know about bodybuilding as a sport. Like, that wasn't part of my world, right? So I wasn't into that at all. Now, as I'm starting to get more and more clients, I'm getting people that want that, want this, and I would take on everybody. In the beginning, I had to take on anybody I can get.
Yep.
So I built my business up enough. Like, I went from corporate to independent in a year, and I got to really kind of pick and choose when I,
Sure.
And I didn't want anybody that didn't really need a trainer. You know what I mean? I wanted people who needed me. And I had people who, they couldn't necessarily afford it, but I would stay with them anyway. Because I'm like, I'm gonna see you through, it's okay. You know, I never put money or business over like my main goal or my main objective. So I really have, I think everybody, if you ever help somebody, if you ever help somebody enhance their life for the better, it's an addictive feeling. I'm not even saying it's coming from some super noble place like Mother Teresa. Maybe it's my own ego that feels good when I give you these guidelines and it works for you and you tell me, it feels good to me, so I want to keep doing it. So, but whatever my reason is, I like helping people. I get something from that. And I think just as human beings, we always are looking for purpose or meaning in life, and maybe that's part of my reasoning for enjoying that whole process. So anyway, I was big on training. I had a lot of like law enforcement guys, and my thing, I'm a creative person, right? So I'm like, what can we do with you? What do you really need? So I would just come up with, I had a whole thing, man. Like, I would do combat training, strength and conditioning, like metabolic conditioning, and then having them spar each other, like crazy stuff to kind of simulate if you have to go out there and chase somebody with 40 pounds of gear on and then catch him and then whoop his ass. And he's on meth, so he's stronger. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get these guys ready to be, get used to being comfortable in uncomfortable positions. And my boxing background had me, that's where my mind was, because boxing is a sport to where you can never get, no boxer ever is so legit with endurance to where they're not getting tired. They just learn how to compete under duress, really, under physical and mental duress. So that's what I like to try to teach these guys. And man, I train before Mike Rashid was a big name, every type of person, celebrities, athletes, law enforcement, soccer moms, you know, skinny guys that wanted some confidence, you know, and I'm big on that, man. You know, I'm telling like, man, stand straight up, do it like this, speak it like this, you know what I mean? So it became more of like life coaching as well, and I learned some valuable leadership skills and all of that stuff as a personal trainer. Personal training, I seen the benefit in so many people's lives. I had blind people. I had an old guy. These are the people that I'm choosing. Now I want him. I had a guy that was 70-something years old. His name was Gibb, and he was 67, but he looked like 78, right? You know, he was hunched over. He was tall. Posture was bad. And I'm like, lifting may not be for him, right? And I'm trying to figure it out. So, you know, I would have him doing brisk walks because he couldn't really jog yet. I got him sprinting after a while. But once I got him pretty conditioned, then I started doing boxing with him, right? And he had high blood pressure, you know, the whole nine. And he loved it. I mean, he was just so, oh man, that was so exciting. Can we do this? I'm like, that's it, yeah, that's you know. So I would find things. It wasn't about me, what I want for you. It's like I'm gonna use my best judgment, but I'm also gonna try to find something that makes you happy.
Fits with you.
You know, because training can be hard, all of that stuff, but why not? What's wrong with enjoyment, right? So I seen that this was giving this guy another lease on life, right? And he was getting healthier. So I take it really serious. I got YouTube videos like advice to trainers, shit that I take very serious. And I always have a dream. I don't know how to pull this about, but I feel like, you know, you can go get your stomach stapled, you can get gastric bypass, and insurance will pay for it. I'm like, no, because they're losing weight, but they're not learning anything. And they're not getting healthier in the process of them losing weight. They just, boom, all right.
Band-Aid
go.
fix, right?
It's
not a lifestyle change.
Like, why isn't personal training, I would love to get it to the point to where that's covered by insurance. Like that's an option outside of gastric bypass and everything else. You know what I mean? Because I've seen it. I've helped somebody not need that. You know what I mean? So one day, Sean, we're gonna make this happen.
It should be a prerequisite. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like before any of that
when they do
stuff.
just a little, you got to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds. But it's not covered.
But it's not training either. It's just like they tell you to do it.
Exactly.
Do whatever you got to. So they usually actually hurt themselves.
Well, it's a short-term thing, right?
Yeah,
it's like lose this period of weight, get the
then you
operation,
get your surgery, and
then go back to doing what you were doing before.
Usually
they'll probably starve themselves.
Yeah, they'll usually actually hurt themselves
take some
more.
pills
Yeah.
So anyway, that's, you know, and then, so that is what kind of got me into all of this. And what got people into knowing who I was was I was, instead of, I tracked everything, every number, and that was another thing. I was a very successful personal trainer, and part of my success is I was very organized with, and I was very, them getting results and seeing improvement was important to me, and it was important to them, and they stayed with me and referred friends to me as a result of that. And the results I'm talking about is not just their body composition, but it was their performance in the gym, right? They were loving that. Like, so outside of that, I would record their workouts or some of the progress on YouTube because I thought it would be cooler than just having it on paper to have it on video. Remember, you couldn't do 2 pull-ups.
Now you're doing 20.
Exactly.
Yeah, for real.
It was so cool. So, and then I would like come up with cool workouts and complexes and all of this stuff, and I would put it on the internet, on YouTube, and Facebook through YouTube, and I would get more clients like that. Right? It was giving me more business. So every now and then I'll throw a workout of my own, you know, and people were really liking it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it started happening for me. And it was never. See, I see nowadays, and there's nothing wrong with this, but people, you know, everybody got Instagram or whatever. It's they living the life, okay, and they're coming out the gate with wanting to have a brand.
Yeah.
And I have people all the time like, I'm just trying to start my fitness brand. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
So I have to walk people down. They come to me for advice. So I'm like, okay, what do you need advice with? And I'm like, well, how do I, like, my brand? I want to get my brand out there. So they don't really know what they want, or they don't know how to articulate it. So I say, all right, so I take it you want to be able to afford yourself a really nice lifestyle off of your passion, training, and or whatever. Yeah. I said, okay, so you probably want to as many people following you as possible so you can pitch products or whatever, or your services, right? Yeah. All right, so why should anybody follow you? Because I'm dedicated.
Man, it's just,
I'm
you
a
know what,
beast.
I'm so happy you brought this up, because this is a big thing for me at the moment is social media. And one of the big things that I'm big on all forms of social, you know, you mentioned YouTube and Instagram, but all forms of social, is so many people are using it, you know, their primary purpose is to create business.
Right.
Whereas, you know, I feel the primary purpose should be to create value.
Right.
For people.
Right.
You know, and that's where you started with your, you know, as you mentioned with your first YouTube videos was about creating value for your clients.
If you really look at my stuff, I still don't go that hard on business stuff.
Yeah.
My one sale I do a year is my birthday. That's it. One sale a year. And I don't, so because I see everybody else pitching. I don't want to do all that. You know what I mean? And I know the more that I post about things, I sell more. But I'm just not, like, I love money like the next person, right? I'm fortunate enough to have some alliances and partnerships with very smart, intelligent people, and we all do good business together, you know? And I've diversified, and I have a lot of things going on. I have we were talking about Robert Kiyosaki earlier, but I read his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, a long time ago. And one thing that really stuck out to me is like, it's not realistic that everybody's gonna hit that one idea like Bill Gates or, you know, Steve Jobs. Yeah. So what you do is you have multiple streams. You know, you get there another way. So I've always been big on that. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and I can do that, and I can do this, and I can do that. And that's what I do. So I'm not stressing about shoving product in people's faces 24/7. I just don't do it. Not that it doesn't work, it's an effective tactic, but that's not my thing. So I'm still on that, trying to give people value.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Most
Every
definitely.
now and then I'm just being silly or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to help people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Like you said, you know. But that's what I see nowadays, is just people starting out the gate.
Yeah.
And they really have nothing to offer.
That's right.
And they want to, well, how can I?
They're trying to take before they give.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
And people are like, well, can I send you one of my shirts and you'll wear it? And I'm like, it's like, no, I won't.
That's not gonna
It's
work.
probably not even a good design, for one.
Yeah.
But two, is come on, man. You know, think. It's fascinating how people don't even think about this stuff. You know, they just speak. You know, so. But anyway, that was how I kind of got, you know,
Into
people knew
fitness.
about me.
Yeah, for real.
Into fitness. I feel like I've been fitness all my life.
The whole
you know what I
time,
mean, right?
yeah.
Now it's a thing.
Now it is a thing. It's kind of caught up. We're transitioning into business, and I do want to get there real quick. But just to finish off the fitness side of things, I'm going to head back to you, Sean. You know, with all of your experience from the fitness side of what you do, your one piece of advice that you could give to somebody, regardless of their health and fitness goal, just like general piece of fitness advice.
Yeah, the summary of my advice
Yeah.
is that you should never sacrifice your mission, which should be to build and maintain long-term health and wellness, for short-term gains or losses, if it's fat loss that you are after, or gains in muscle or anything like that. Because here's why: strength is temporary. Abs don't mean you're healthy. Low body fat doesn't mean you're healthy.
Homeless people got abs.
Yeah, because they're hungry. So these are not the markers in today's world of health in terms of the fitness space. The markers that are being used to measure success, being a big bench press, big deadlift, big squat, shredded abs, overly developed glutes, all these things, they're not markers of health. And they're cool right now, and they're cool for a short time frame, but they're not what is going to ultimately lead you to have a long and productive life. And they're things that come at a cost oftentimes. If it's a guy trying to maintain super shredded abs, you're going to have poor hormone levels, right? If you're a girl, you're going to not be able to have a child, right? So there are downsides to the things that are being currently presented as ideal, or the things we should be striving for.
Yeah.
And you have to find that balance where, if you're a competitor, of course, you're going to do that for your show, but that's a separate nature. Less than 1% of people who work out are going to compete.
Yeah.
So for everyone else, you need to find that balance point where you feel good about yourself. You feel happy, you feel healthy, you feel functional. You're not just thinking about food all the time, nor do you have to do an hour of cardio a day just to maintain a certain level of body fat. Find that point. That is what this entire journey is about. And I'm over 10 years in, and I'm really settling into that now. Oh man, I still don't feel like I have it, but I'm continuing to work for that. That enjoying what I do every day, enjoying the food that I eat every day, but not depriving myself and not feeling like I have to strive for this standard, which is really just came out of nowhere. And there is no correlation between any of those things: the bench, squat, deadlift, shredded abs, big glute. None of these things correlate to health. None of them. So why are we chasing them? Especially if we don't compete. A lot of people. So I've done natural bodybuilding competitions in the past, and I've even won a few of them. But that's not my future. So for me to chase after that, that's not it for me, and it's not it for, I'm gonna say, 9 out of 10 people listening to this right now. So that's my take home. My one piece of advice.
I love that piece of advice so much.
Yeah.
It's I feel like so many people, especially the millennial generation and Gen Y as well, get distracted by the social pressures of looking a particular way and using those short-term fitness markers as, the be-all to end-all of health and fitness. And I just think it's a distraction, and I'm so happy to hear that piece of advice, because I think that a lot of people can take a lot from that. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, and you know what? Real quick, it transitions past fitness also, by the way. Forget about business. That transitions into life. A lot of times people use markers that they're striving for that are going to indicate, let's say, happiness. Right? You look at someone, the way that someone presents themselves on Instagram or any type of social media platform, you see what they want you to see, and these are markers of happiness, like driving X car, living in X place, shopping at these places, wearing these clothes. None of these things correlate to happiness. None of them. You know what I mean? Because most of the happiest people I know are not the most wealthiest people I know. I do know very wealthy people who are very happy, but it's not because of the shit they have. It's because of the way they live their life. It's because they're on this journey to find their happiness. They're constantly doing those things. Just like I'm saying, I'm on this journey to find my wellness and to continue to see, what does that mean to me? What makes me feel the best, and what can I do every day that I love to do, right? Because if you wake up every day and you're someone who's trying to maintain super low body fat, and every day you know that you're ending and starting every day hungry and thinking about food, and you need to spend an hour doing cardio just to maintain this body fat level, why are you doing that? What is the outcome? So don't do that in any area of life. Don't ask yourself why you're chasing the markers you're chasing. Because is there a correlation between that and what you actually want? So in fitness, none of these things lead to health. In life, none of those things lead to happiness. They're just things you could have or not have. But don't set false goals based on other people.
Don't succumb to social pressures.
I want to add on to what Sean is saying. I agree 100% with Sean, with you. I'm saying Sean like he's not here. With Sean, he said about 10 seconds ago. But I have a little bit of a different perspective on it, but the same goal. I have a friend who, started making really good money, right, in fitness, and somebody I care about, and was about to buy $200,000 car. And I was like, nah, bro, I wanted to talk him out of it. But I'm like, wait a minute, you had, and you know, I remember I was in Miami in a car that I used to have, and I felt silly in the car. It was like embarrassing. Most people would think that this is a dream car, but I was kind of embarrassed in the car. Like, what am I doing in this car? You know what I mean? I would get to my gym and I would like drive and park a little bit further just so people didn't see it.
So you get
that
out,
doesn't
yeah.
make sense, right?
Yeah.
But it makes sense because I had to experience it. And I was about to, I said, do it, get it. You got a good head on your shoulders. You'll see that it's not, you know what I mean?
You got to go through
But
that.
experience it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You know what I mean? And that is a social, especially in our world where you see a lot of, you know, CEOs showing their cars, nice cars, exotic cars, etc. So people feel like I got to do that too. Not everybody. Some people just really are into cars. You know what I mean? So I say just do it, experience it, live it. And when it comes to, because I was the guy chasing a 500-pound bench press, 600-pound squat, et cetera, et cetera. And I achieved those things. And for me, it was more of this. I knew that's not a career for me. That wasn't gonna, however, and I'm gonna just keep it real, it was helping with like my persona with people. Yo, this guy is 215, 220 pounds, he benched 500 pounds. I'm gonna watch him, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, it helped me business-wise to an extent, right? Because it did separate me apart from a lot of my peers because the guys doing the numbers that I was doing, there's guys way smaller than me, stronger than me. You know what I mean? But for the most part, it was the CEOs doing what I was doing that looked like me. They got to be big, you know what I mean? So I felt like it kind of differentiated me to an extent, right? But I know that's not long term. You know, it's not but I needed to go through that to see how the downside of that stuff was, you know what I mean? Because it was like, man, I'm in pain every day, you know what I mean? So, you know, I did a powerlifting meet, my numbers is on the records, I'm done with that, you know what I'm saying? You know, but I do, me personally, I've always, I got like a rush from just feeling that heavy weight, you know what I mean? Even like so leading up to my fight at my boxing match in February, I didn't really train any weight training besides squats occasionally for about 3 months, right? I just wanted to lose some muscle so I could be nice and loose and fluid. And when I started back lifting, when I was getting into like some fairly heavy weights, I felt that feeling. It felt good to my body physically. I'm like, I missed this. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna try to go for a 500-pound bench press again or anything like that. You know, because I am in it for the longevity and for. Listen, whether I live another 5 years or another 80 years, I just want my years to be graceful. You know.
Sure.
Not in the hospital, no physical ailments, no medical anything. So, a 500-pound bench press is not going to allow me that. It's going to put me in pain a lot, tendinitis, the whole nine. But I needed to go through that so I can counsel young guys now. And I don't want to, you know, if somebody want to do that, do it. If you really want to achieve that, go for it, bro. Do what you got to do, you know. But it's not long term. I can really give them a really comprehensive breakdown on the pros and cons, right? Some people don't care. They want to, you know. I got this thing. I say live like a lion, but some people take it a whole different way. Living like a lion is a short, aggressive, powerful life, but it's an awesome life. If that's what you want, do it. I don't see anything wrong with whatever anybody want to do, as long as it's not harming anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, there's a lot of people that used to criticize Rich Piana, right? I'm like, he lived the life that he wanted to live.
Most definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was the king of that. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine him at 80? Do you want to? Do you want to see a 60-year-old Tupac? You know what I'm saying? You can't imagine these things, right? Certain things certain people are just fit and they want to do what they want to do.
Correct.
Now, me personally, I see that a lot of people follow me a lot. I have a lot of influence on some people, especially young guys. So I feel it is my responsibility, and it's just who I am, to offer the best advice that I feel that I can possibly give. So the beginning of 2017, I did a video. No, the end of 2016, I did a video and it's called Therapy. I said, look, just so y'all know, I'm not doing a crazy amount of reps. I'm not trying to out bench or out squat anybody. I might skip a couple days in between training. This is just my therapy. That's it. I'm not powerlifting. I'm not bodybuilding. I'm not doing any of that. This is just therapy. I do it when I'm gonna come in the gym when I feel like it, and just for my own peace of mind, right? I'm not locked into what everybody else is doing and trying to compete with them.
Correct.
You know? So there was a time when I would see somebody bench, I'm like, all right, okay, watch this. Go outdo them. You know what I'm saying? That's just the competitive nature in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
man,
I don't think
that.
there's anything wrong with being competitive.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, I gotta go through certain things. Like, I'm 41. I've lived a lot of life. I've experienced, I know what certain things feel like. I know what feels good, what doesn't, you know? And where I'm at now is a longevity play or a graceful living play, you know? And what does that mean, Mike Rashid? I eat once a day. We could talk about why later. I meditate. I try to go to bed before 10. You know, I run. I take cold showers sometimes. You know, I sit in saunas. You know what I mean? A huge chunk of my days are outside of business and work stuff is just therapeutic for me. You know, because running is therapeutic for me. Right, and it's good for my lungs and my heart. And my, you know, so I'm into these things. You know, so and I started taking my health really serious around 2016, like my real health, not the muscles.
Sure.
You know, and when I got my blood work, I was like, oh, I'm not as healthy as I thought I was.
Did you? Are you one of these guys that kind of avoided getting blood work done for a while?
I just never. I'm never sick. I never really had a need to. So I thought.
Yeah, for real. And most people are like that, right?
Yeah, they don't know. Right.
If there's nothing wrong, why?
And the problem is, if y'all listening, you won't know if you don't get checked. You won't know until it's really bad. When you're feeling something weird and you're, you know. Is bad. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Sometimes you can find out things, and a lot of things are reversible and preventative. And the things that you could do to prevent them is how you eat and your nutrition and your physical activities. Literally, we don't need doctors and medicine. We literally don't. You know? So when I seen that, I was like, all right, let me stop fucking around.
Yeah.
You know, let me stop. And now everything is good, man. And when I my last time getting checked, like everything was in February, and it was just all my medicals that I needed for, like, as a professional boxer, they put you through a battery of tests to make sure, because the commission don't want to get sued if something happens to you.
Yeah, of course.
So, and over 39, they give you even extra. They put you through extra stuff. So, man, every doctor, cardiologist, to this, to that, they were all so impressed with everything. It just made me feel great. I wanted to Snapchat her. Y'all see that? Can you say that again? Can you say that again? No, say it.
Take a look at this shit.
You know,
so Mike, taking all of this, if you were to kind of like distill it all down to like your one piece of fitness advice, general health and fitness advice, what would that look like?
Man, I got so much, but because I have advice for people in different situations,
of course,
what they want to do.
Yeah. But let's say regardless of situation, like if you're talking to you know a skinny young guy who wants to build muscle or an overweight middle-aged lady who wants to lose weight, what's that look like?
Be consistent. That's it. Consistency trumps talent. It trumps hookups, connections, consistency. One thing about me, my entire life I've been into training and trying to be healthy and strong and fast and athletic. And at the age of 40, I took my first professional boxing match in the most dangerous division, heavyweights, right? And I fought a guy half my age. And the younger you are, the more the advantage you have.
Of course, yeah.
Right? Like, people retire from boxing in their 30s, you know, but I was in there and I'm the young man. You know what I mean? And that's because of consistency, you know? So I say consistency.
There you go. Now we have spoken, we've kind of blended over here, which is fine because we've spoken about business a fair bit. But I do want to kind of switch gears now, because both of you guys have been involved in business for quite some time now and run multiple successful businesses. So Sean, let's start with you, man, and kind of where we've had your little bit of fitness introduction. How did that then kind of lead to business, and what does that look like for Sean?
Yeah, well, so at the same time as I was always wanting to find an outlet for this passion that was growing with health and nutrition, I also had a big time desire for business. I was always an entrepreneur. I was the one who wanted a pair of Kobe's so bad when Kobe had his first shoe with Adidas. Right. I wanted it so bad. My dad was like, no, we're not gonna buy you a $130 pair of shoes, which is funny now because that's low now.
Yeah.
But it was $129, and that was crazy back then. Right. That's how much like the crazy shoes cost back then, was like $120.
Right.
And he's like, no, we're not buying that for you. You're 12. You can't have that. Like,
knock it off.
Yeah. He's like, if you want that, you know how you could get it. And I was like, how? He said, you'll figure it out. So I did. I made a menu of because I would watch my dad. He's someone who takes a lot of pride in his possessions. Someone who takes really good care of his stuff. Something I learned from him. Mm-hmm. He would clean his car like himself. He would like detail it himself on the weekends. He would clean it and whatever, take it out and then put it away. Just clean it. So I watched him and I put together a list of all the things he would do, and I made myself a flyer for how I would wash people's cars. Right. And I even made a couple of levels if they wanted a basic one, or if they wanted a middle level, and a full detail. And I got all my supplies together and I put them all in a little basket, and I went from door to door in my neighborhood, and I literally sold car detailing when I was 12. And I, in one weekend, bought those shoes, that he told me I couldn't have unless if I figured it out. He said, the only way you need those shoes, bad enough, is if you figure out a way to get them. And he didn't tell me how to get them. Right. He just told me I would figure it out. Right. And I said, okay, I'll figure it out. And I did. And of course people were generous to me because I was a little kid and I got more money than I probably should have. But I didn't care. Right. So I came back with the $125. I was like a little bit short. Yeah. And I was like, Dad, this is what I got. Right. He's like, what can we do? He's like, well, you don't have enough for tax. So he's like, you can wash our car and then we'll pay for the tax. Nice. So I got those shoes, and that was my first taste of like entrepreneurship, because making a supplement line is not entrepreneurship. Identifying a problem and working towards solving it, that's entrepreneurship. Yeah. There's such a distinct difference between being a business owner and being an entrepreneur.
Right. Most definitely.
So you have to look at and find problems in a marketplace or just in the world. And if you're an entrepreneur, like I'm really not a true entrepreneur. I would say I'm more like half entrepreneur. I would say someone like Mike is more of an entrepreneur than me, because I like the operations part, whereas Mike is always like identifying problems at a faster rate than I am. I find one and I kind of just want to like dive into it, but Mike has like such a mind space for finding new problems at a much faster rate than I do. But you identify a problem and you work towards solving it, that becomes a business. So you can be a businessman and not be an entrepreneur, and you can be an entrepreneur but a terrible businessman. There's overlap. It's a Venn diagram, of course, but they're not the same thing. And they have been treated as synonyms a little bit lately. And everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, and I'm like, well, being an entrepreneur is pretty hard. Yeah. So that was my first little taste of it, but luckily when I was in school, when I went to Michigan State, I was able to craft my own education in a way that helped me a little bit. I learned most of it in the real world, but I was able to do entrepreneurship business with human nutrition. So for my entrepreneurship part of my degree in the business school at Michigan State, they actually let you go work with businesses. They like send you there and put you to work. And so you identify problems, learn about numbers, learn about real world things that these real businesses are going through. So I got a taste of that, and that like made me like extra hungry for it. I was like, man, this is amazing. You're controlling your own outcome. Right. So why I like being in business is because I'm in control of my outcome. So if I fail, it's my fault. If I do great, I get a lot of the credit. I like to give as much of it as possible to everyone who's around me for doing their part, but I like to be ultimately in control. It's not like when you're part of a huge corporation where there's so many other things going on that you could be fired or the company could fail when you had nothing to do with it. Or you could just do your job for 20 years, 30 years, and never really have changed anything. You're just you basically push a button. You know, like you fulfill a necessary requirement, but you're not impacting anything. You don't really have the power to impact anything. You just have to fulfill a process. You are a cog in the wheel, so to speak. So I didn't want that. And that led me towards personal training, right? I was training definitely, nutrition. So I was doing these things on the side. But what really started towards a career for me was when I walked into a nutrition store, and I was like, already knowing more than the people who were working there and the guy who actually owned it. And at that moment in time, he's like, "Do you want a job?" And I was like, "Maybe," you know. And that was a Max Muscle store, and I ended up becoming a part of that store, a partner of that store. Over time, I earned equity and earned a position there, and I saw and learned about business really that way. I already had a business degree, but I learned about business by being able to affect the outcomes of that store. And that led me towards HPN because as an entrepreneur then, that's business what I was doing. I was just working a business model that was in place. But then I identified a problem. And this was in 2009, so it's way different than 2018. In 2009, half of the companies out there or more were making their products in garages or warehouses. They weren't using CGMP manufacturing because it wasn't required by law at that point. They were just making stuff in their garage or in a warehouse or in a basement somewhere, mixing it in a cement mixer. Some companies still do. But they were manufacturing in this way where the products could not be tested or could not be trusted or relied upon to be accurate. In addition, they were putting things in their products that weren't on the labels intentionally to deceive consumers, meaning they would put more stimulant in there so you feel something, or they would put illegal ingredients in there so that you feel something, or vice versa, they were leaving things out that were supposed to be in there. And I knew this through the grapevine, but here I am at a very, very successful nutrition store with clientele that are, you know, millionaires, that are just very wealthy people, or professional athletes, because I was starting to be building a small name for myself doing nutrition for Major League Baseball players in this area particularly. And then guys would get traded, they would go to other teams, and that would like spread my little network. So I had all these guys who are getting paid millions of dollars a year from their body, from their output of their body, asking me what products to take. And they would buy them from my store, of course. We would ship them anywhere in the world that they were. I couldn't trust any of these companies. I could give them really like one product or two products. One of them at the time was like Muscle Milk. Cytosport was one of the only companies who was doing the testing that these guys needed for me to be able to sleep at night knowing that I'm not putting them in danger. Because there was companies doing really cool shit, but then I know from talking to them that they make their stuff in a garage. They have cool ingredients and ideas, but they're doing it in a low quality way. Then there's companies like Cytosport who were doing all the quality stuff, but their products were so boring or pedestrian or downright bad, the formulas. So they have everything that you would want in terms of quality control, but the actual contain what is in the bottle, the contents of the bottle was certified high quality crap. You know what I mean? So it's like you know exactly what's in it, but it's boring and it's not going to help anyone. So these guys want the cutting edge, and these guys, a lot of people who are pro athletes that have failed drug tests, we know they're lying. They blame it on supplements. They're lying, but they knew what they were doing.
It does happen.
But it does happen. It does for a fact. That we met a guy not long ago that, and I actually knew a little bit more about how it happened. But people take over the counter supplements thinking that they're okay when they're not, and they fail drug tests, and it ruins their lives, ruins their careers, at least. Maybe not their life, but they have to then,
their livelihood.
They can't make money anymore from what they were doing. So I identified this as a problem. I said, someone's got to fill this gap. Why isn't someone making crazy effective products with cutting edge science and doing the testing right? So being that my passion was trying to help people live well, I also didn't want to make the compromise of using ingredients that were cutting edge or like really effective but dangerous for people. Because at the time, 1,3-dimethylamine was really blowing up, which is what was in the original Jack 3D ever, which was one of the fastest selling supplements of all time outside of like ephedra.
One more rep.
Yeah, all those products, but they all came right after Jack 3D.
Jack was the OG.
Yeah, so everyone was putting that in their products. That was like that was a type of a landmark decision. Like, I'm going to make a training formula. I'm not going to put that in there because I understand that this ingredient, while it is very effective, has downsides. You do a tremendous amount of damage to your nervous system. So why would I want to put this in a product that is supposed to help people get healthier? So they're relying on this to train. We're basically simulating the feeling of being attacked by an armed assailant or a lion, but now they're just going to go lift weights. Well, of course they're going to be stronger, but they're wreaking havoc on their body to do it. So we're really, stealing from one pocket to pay the other in that situation. So I saw an opportunity with HPN and I attacked it, and that's what led to HPN in 2010. Came out the gate and really went after this pro athlete business because I was like, man, I'm going to make the product that all the pros are going to use. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be legit. I'm going to be a millionaire. But then I didn't do the business part first, right? I thought about the idea. It took me a year to realize that, wait a minute, this is such a small target market. Right. If you add up the 4 major American sports, the NFL, MLB, NHL, and NBA, you have right around 10,000 athletes that are actually on the teams, not counting all the minors. There's not that many of these guys and girls. There's not that many of them. There's actually more people in Costa Mesa who are viable candidates for HPN products than there are pro athletes. So in our area, immediate 15-mile radius, I have a bigger and probably better target market because they're easier to reach, they're cheaper to reach. They don't want like the crazy deals and sponsorships that pro athletes want. And so I had to realize and understand that the pro athlete business that I had gotten, which was pretty cool, we had a few dozen teams, it wasn't it. It wasn't it. And I realized, wait a minute, I'm over here dealing with these guys who already have access to everything. I want to help the world, so I need to change my message and my approach. And that's when we start focusing on working with people just like myself who want to be healthier, who want to be well, and want to take products that can help with that. And that change in path is what led me to making friends and meeting people like Mike, like Mark, like Doug, people who are like-minded that also want that. And everything's come from that change of heart where, okay, let me stop focusing solely on performance athletics and really start delivering this message to the world.
And the cool thing about that, Sean, is that really ties back into your fitness. The piece that you gave us on fitness where you were talking about, your motivation was to help people improve their health over the long term and improve their lives as a consequence of that. And it's funny that you kind of went full circle with the business side of things from the top level performance professional athletes now back to originally what you got you into health and fitness in the first place. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, we are actually, and to like solidify that commitment, we are, as we speak, by the time this is live, it's probably done. We're in the middle of redoing our complete branding presentation. We're moving towards not being a science-oriented company like a high-performance nutrition. We are actually calling ourselves HPN, a wellness company, literally now. That is our new direction, stated and intended. That's how we're moving forward. Everything that we do is through that lens. So I'm not even going to be referring to HPN as high performance nutrition. Just HPN, a wellness company. That's it, because that's what it's all about. Even, it was so funny when you were talking about how people got to go through stuff. They got to get that car. They got to get that bench press. And I agree with you, because they do. I'm never going to bench 500 pounds probably, but I've done a lot of those things. And you realize once you do them that it's just part of the journey. It wasn't the end. So people right now, they might think that 500-pound bench press is the end. No, it's just a notch. It's just a notch on the belt. It's one thing that you did, but it's a journey. We're continuing to move, and we're getting more.
It's something for your grandkids to brag about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a legacy.
That six pack isn't gonna be when you're like, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. Look, everyone, I did it.
You know what's
Mission
it's crazy though? It's
accomplished.
crazy is when I've seen people that do that. They'll go through hell to get a six pack, and they book a photo shoot. That was it.
That's it. Now what?
Like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, interesting. You know, but that's why I get out there and tell people. Like, I try to look, guys. I've been telling people look. I always say abs are not important. Homeless people have abs. I've always said that. You know what I'm saying? That's not the end all to health at all. You know, it's malnourishment at some point. I'm not saying everybody with abs are malnourished or unhealthy, but most people on Instagram are.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not a marker of health.
Exactly.
You know, it's a short term thing.
And like you said, I mean, there's tons of people in this industry with no kids that probably will never have, in their 40s now. You know what I mean? Women who don't have menstrual cycles. You know, and they're not supposed to be in single digit body fat percentages.
For real.
It's not a good look.
Yeah. Transition to Mike. Now that we've got you on the mic, Mike.
Yeah.
Your business introduction. How did you kind of? We've kind of spoken a little bit about it, I guess, with the fitness side of things and the personal training and kind of how that went. But then, how did you? I guess, where did the business piece come in? You know, the pure.
Yeah, I'll get into that.
Yeah, let's go for that.
So the personal training. When I was a personal trainer at a gym, working for the gym, I gave myself a 1-year plan, and in that plan was to get several certifications, was to acquire a decent size client base. There was a few more things, but the main thing was after that year, take my clients to a independent gym.
Sure.
Right.
And this is 2010, 2011.
Yeah, 10, 11, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I think it was 2010 when I had that goal. 11, and in that year, I achieved everything that I said that I wrote out. It's something powerful to writing out goals. I don't know what. I don't believe in magic, but maybe magic works. So everything I put on there, and it wasn't like I kept going back to the book. I just happened to pick. I'm like, wow, I did all of this shit.
Did it all. Yeah.
So at that point, I had to, go ahead and make that leap of faith. And at the time, I put it out there. I was maxed out on what I can do at Gold's Gym. I was the head guy. I was bringing 80% of the PT revenue in my gym. Right? I was outdoing Gold's Venice, all of them. And we're a AA gym. That means we don't charge as much. They charge $100 and higher, and I was out selling all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I was making $3,500 a month, right? And I was afraid to quit the gym. You know what I'm saying? So when it came, I had to hold myself accountable. You said after this year, you're going to start your own thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, all right, here we go. So I asked all my clients who would come with me. The gym was Metroflex, Long Beach, and it was farther. It was where I was training at Goals was in the heart of downtown Long Beach. It was a really cool area, and everybody lives there. Everybody walks to the gym. So I was worried that people wouldn't want to make that drive. It was a good 10, 15-minute drive. So 90% of everybody said, yeah, I'm coming with you, wherever you're going. And that was a good feeling. So I went from doing $3,500 a month to out the gate $15,000 first month, right? So, however, I was selling the same big packages as I did with Goals, and they would just break it up and give you a bi-weekly check. Here, you gotta wait until those 36 sessions is out. You know what I mean? So I'm like, shit, I just went 2 months without no money. You know what I mean? So I had to reorganize and restructure how I did everything. And it's a learning process, and I figured it out. And I gave a lot of, I owe a lot to Goals because they taught me the structure and the business of personal training, because it is a business, and I respect it as a business as well. So I was doing everything very professionally as an independent trainer, like I was with Goals, even more professionally because it's for myself. So I was doing really good with that, business-wise, and then I was getting to where I was starting to get burnt out, right? I was starting to hate training people because I'm doing it from sun up to sundown, barely having time for myself. It would get so crazy to where someone would come in with a big smile on their face, and I'm pissed that they're smiling. What the fuck are you so happy for? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm just burnt out. I could not maintain a relationship because I had nothing to give. You know what I mean? The girl I was dating at the time, she'd want to come over, and she'd be like, "Can I come over there?" I'd be like, "I mean, I'm tired, but if you want, like, AKA no, you know, come." And I just had nothing to give because I'm giving myself to all of these people. And people think personal training is just counting reps. It's not. It's a lot to it. I'm giving a lot. I'm teaching, I'm guiding, I'm spotting, I'm doing everything. And I'm when you care, you're really giving a lot, you know? So I just had nothing anymore. So I got to this point where I said, you know what, I'm gonna try something. I said, look, I'm only training until noon. 5 a.m. to noon. If y'all can fit in, great. If not, whatever, right? So it worked. So I started doing what I call semi-private training. I didn't want to say group training because group training, I think, is a class, and you get paid a lot less for that. So I'm not changing my rates. I'm not going down. You're still going to get the same kind of training, which actually worked out so much better because having 2 or 3 or 4 people, they're going to be competitive with each other, and they're going to push each other in camaraderie.
Yep.
And at this time, I'm starting to travel, like things are starting to pick up outside of the gym. So it will work out because I will have somebody senior who's been through everything with me that knows what's up. All right, you're going to be with so-and-so and so-and-so, just make sure that if I couldn't be there. So it worked out great, man. And I was finishing my days by noon. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit. During that process, like, until this point, I never took any kind of supplement. No protein, no fat burner, no BCW, nothing. I knew nothing about it, and I always thought I was Superman. I didn't need anything, right? Like, I was with the guy that walk into a gym and just start with 315 cold. You know what I mean? I used to do that. I can't do that no more. I warm up for like 30 minutes now. You know, I used to laugh I used to look at people as silly wrapping their stuff up. I'm like, nah, that's me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rubbing arnica.
Just took time.
You know what I mean? So I never took supplements, and then during this process when I was starting to get burnt out, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm like angry. So somebody gave me like a fat burner one day, and I was like wired. This is perfect. All right, I'll just take these. And then I start feeling like nauseous and, you know, all these different side effects. And then one more rep. Took that, and I'm just, and it was just too much, right? So I'm like, all right. So I started taking every fat burner, every pre-workout, and I'll take a picture of the ingredients, and I will go home after work and start researching and studying ingredients, right? Just Google. At this point, I didn't know Sean, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody in the industry. I didn't even know about the industry, right? So I started trying to figure out this certain things that I felt that I didn't like. I'm like, why do I feel this? Because this would be perfect if I didn't feel this. And I started trying to figure out why. You know, what is it? You know what I'm saying? I started seeing, like he said, they would put certain ingredients in products or too much of something to make you feel something. One product, I'm not gonna put the people out there like that, but one product that I was taking, it was a pre-workout. Every time I would take it, it gave me what I felt like I needed, but my skin is just itching, and you know what I mean? Like my skin was, and I found out, it's too much beta-alanine. Why would they put so much? Because some people like to feel like they're fucking, it just, if you feel something, like any product, like
that transient effect, right?
Yeah, you're gonna buy it. It works.
It feels like it's working.
I felt like it works. So like a fat burner is a lot easier to sell than like a BCAA. You know what I mean?
You feel it.
You immediately feel it. So I started, at that point, when I started signaling out what I didn't and what I did want to use, I started ordering raw ingredients off of Amazon. And I'm sure it was garbage. I'm sure it was like China powders, you know what I mean? But I'm just trying to find something for myself, right? So, like, my kitchen legit looked like a laboratory, right? Bags of caffeine anhydrous. I even tried shit that didn't work. raspberry, ketone. Like I'm just trying everything, right? Until I found something that worked, that felt good, right? And it tastes fucking horrible. I didn't know anything about fillers and how to hide the massive taste, none of that. This is just raw shit, and I'm putting it in my tea. Because I'm like, at least the tea is hot, it might not be as bad, but it's still bad. So one day, before I got to the good formula, I almost killed myself. I tell the story because this shit is real. I didn't have a milligram scale, which if most people don't even know how they do this stuff, right? Because once you get a formula, you send it to a facility and they do it. So, but I was doing it in my kitchen. You said garage, and I'm doing it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I wasn't intended to sell this.
You were
This
just
was for
testing.
me, right?
Yeah.
For me and maybe to other trainers and maybe my clients if they wanted. So I couldn't find a milligram scale. I just bought a gram scale. I didn't know the difference. So I'm like, fuck it. So it said whatever a milligram of, I don't know, I think it was caffeine and anhydrous. I put that, a tablespoon.
Oh shit.
So needless to say,
a tablespoon is like what, 5-6 grams?
No, it's like 10 grams.
it's
10
like
grams?
it's the equivalent. I went and looked it up afterwards. It would be the equivalent of taking like 20 fat burners.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I felt fucking amazing first, right? Fuck, this is it. This is it, baby. It's like dark, like 4:30 because I started work at 5. Fucking go to the gym. And then I start feeling like sad, right? And I'm sitting down and I just left. I didn't even tell anybody I was leaving. I just left, and that's not like me. Probably about 8 o'clock. So what it did was it sped me up and then started slowing me down. When you have too many stimulants, that's what it does. And
It's like a roller coaster.
right. I woke up dehydrated as shit. Like my mouth was dry. Right, bed was soaked with sweat and shit. Right.
Whoa.
2 days later, don't remember anything. 2 days, I didn't eat, didn't have anything to drink. I could have died there. You know what I mean? But I learned. You know what I'm saying? So then I've figured it out, whatever. So I was making my own pre-workout for me, for work, right? I had no intentions on selling it. So at this time, now I'm gonna back it up a little bit more. Before that, what I was trying to do was mental jewels. I would buy all of these nootropics. Felt nothing from any of it. It was bullshit. I'm like, this is fucked up. I'm gonna make a good one. I mean, I can just research it and find the ingredients, but I just couldn't do. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have the resources. I didn't know anybody. I just couldn't do it. So I went with a pre-workout. Now, so I'm doing this, and a lot of people at this time, like, my profile is starting to grow on social media, and people were hitting me up with sponsorship offers, just all kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know nothing about it now. Cool. So one person that did hit me up was my business partner now, my current business partner, what I'm so out for. His name is Jamie Lambert, and we exchanged numbers. He sounded like a good guy, right? I go off of vibes a lot. So we started talking, and he was like, because he was saying, I got some ideas, whatever. He says, you ever think about doing your own supplement line? I was like, hold on. So I went and took pictures of my kitchen.
Is this what you're talking about?
I said, yeah, I'll kind of make my own stuff. He's like, really? So he said, tell me about it. So I told him what I was doing. He's like, that's kind of different. What about, you don't put this on? Nah, because of this and that. Huh. You want to make it? You want to, like, produce it and put it out in the market? I'm like, sure. I don't care because I'm not making money off of it anyway. So what do I have to lose? So we put it together. I told a few of my friends. They didn't believe me. I was, coming over the line. And lo and behold, my first month, I made a $3,000 profit. Now, when you're a personal trainer making $10,000, $15,000 a month, that extra $3,000 is a lot of money. Like, oh, that's cool. Every month it was growing a little bit more. So we started adding more products, and it grew to where it's at now. Kind of from an innocent place, from a place of just I was being an entrepreneur for myself, like trying to solve my issue. You know what I mean? So so that grew. In the process, I met Mark first, and then he introduced me to Sean, and I told them guys, like, look, I've been having this idea about this product, MassiveJoes, like a nootropic. And Sean was all over it because Sean is like a genius with all of this stuff, right? So it was cool because I had already marketed the term MassiveJoes in a bunch of videos. You know what I mean? So it was like a household name already. So Sean came out with this brilliant formula. He's sending it to me. And, you know, back when I was starting, I was a researchaholic. But at this point, I'm getting busy now and I'm traveling. So I'm like, oh, it looks good. I have no idea. But I trusted him. You know what I'm saying? So I would like get halfway through, but then I would get lost and I got to move. I got to do this, do that. But the partnership was just perfect, you know?
Sure.
So,
And just so the listeners, for those listeners who are unaware, this is kind of how this all pulls together is in addition to Sean with HPN and Mike with I'm So Alpha, the Mark that these guys are talking about is, of course, Mark Lobliner from MTS Nutrition. And so these three guys started a supplement company together, all three of them, and that is Ambrosia Collective. And MassiveJoes was the first product.
The first product.
Yeah, so this is how this all ties
in. It was
in.
like a love child between us.
Yeah.
Right? And it's somewhat of a passion project. However, you got
a Jewish guy, a black guy, and a Middle Eastern guy. Somehow our baby somehow came out Renaissance.
It sounds like
Renaissance Greek.
Right.
It sounds like the start of a joke.
Yeah.
A Jewish guy, a Middle Eastern guy, and a black guy walk into a bar together.
Yeah, but what it really was is our passion for doing something outside of sports nutrition in a way that we didn't need it for. None of us needed this to work for an income. We were like, let's make stuff that we really want to make that no one's making, or even sometimes no one's even thought about yet. The nootropic space has blown up, but at the time when we first,
it's still, for the most part, it's people think they're taking nootropics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're taking caffeine.
Yeah.
Thinking it's a nootropic.
I mean, to defend caffeine is technically a nootropic, but it's so much more that you could be giving people, you know?
And you're right, there was no innovation. And even then, people, again, there's this big problem in our industry where people read a label and understand that it's supposed to be true, but there's no proof that that's true without the correct type of manufacturing in place. And companies are running into this now. They've run into it before, and they'll continue to, because consumers take labels at face value. When if you can't research the company and find out how they're making their products, in fact, it's probably almost guaranteed to not be face value. It will be off in one way or another, even if they didn't intend it. Because the thing is this, people need to know about the business here. Companies don't, for the most part, manufacture their own products. You use other facilities. So you use contract manufacturers. So if you don't intimately know this business, you can easily be taken advantage of. Like, this is what I do all day, every day. I actually am at our facility when we produce our products. So there is no margin for error. And then we also independently test all of our products for Ambrosia and for HPN. So there's multiple checkpoints where we buy our own ingredients. We supply them all. That's very unconventional because this way I control the supply chain. We know that what is in the bottle was what we provided, not some lower grade version that they were able to get a deal on this month. This happens. You order something and something else is cheaper, they put it in instead. They make that decision on their own for you to try and save money. Then after it's produced, we test it outside of the facility, because for CGMP regulations, we use good facilities, great. They're required to do their own testing. But there's a lot of reason for them to fudge or falsify that testing rather than have to redo an entire production batch. So maybe there's some bacteria in there that was slightly over the limit where you're supposed to scrap it. Or maybe there's some shortage of one of the ingredients. But rather than redo the whole thing and have to do an insurance claim or whatever, they just were like, just put it through, push it through. But because of the fact that we independently test all the products, that doesn't happen to us. You know, we can be confident going to bed at night and waking up in the morning that when people get one of our products, they are 100% certain and sure that what it says on the bottle is what's in there, and nothing else is in there too.
Yeah.
So it's funny, I saw the videos of Mike's talking about mental jewels. And the day that we met, I actually have a picture of the day that we met in the gym in Texas. I was like, I've seen these videos that you've made about mental jewels. Like, we should make a product called Mental Jewels. Like I feel like you've created demand for this product on accident. He goes, no, I actually want to make this product.
This is intentional.
Yeah, and I was like, let's make this product, you know? Yeah. And so that we had a flight that we were on for like 3 or 4 hours, and that's when it started. And then Mark was a perfect partner for us because here in the U.S., Tiger Fitness is such a great outlet. So bringing Mark in to the picture was the perfect combination because the three of us round each other out so well, where Mark is so high energy in one direction, Mike is such an innovator and thought leader in another one, and then I have my, ingredient expertise and connections on the production side of this industry. We were the dream team, in my opinion.
And for people to have comfort with, we all had our individual companies all making very good money already. So when we, like he said, Ambrosia was not, and we didn't care about the money we were making. So in that case, we didn't cut any corners on ingredients and cost of ingredients, right? So we wasn't thinking about, from day one, we wasn't doing sourcing ingredients and formulas based on margins. We were doing it based on the absolute best ingredients that we can get into these products.
So this is what kind of intrigues me about Ambrosia, because I knew all three of you. I knew Mike before Ambrosia came around through I'm So Alpha, I knew Sean through HPN. I kind of knew all three of you independently of each other. And then this was kind of my first question when you guys, told me about Ambrosia. I was like, well, I mean, Mike's got his thing going on, Sean's got his thing going on, Mark's got his thing going on. Well, not how is it going to work? I know you guys, are capable of doing anything you put your minds to, but I was kind of like, what's the motivation for doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like most people will start a supplement company, they'll sell one and then move on to another one, or get out of a different business and enter this business. But you guys, you've still got your babies, and now you've had another child together, effectively. But talk me through the motivation for that. Talk to the listeners through the motivation for that.
It's literally just to put, first of all, what we're doing, it's a completely new lane, okay? We're doing things that are not, like he said, he thought the sports nutrition lane was the cool kids. We're like, fuck that. This is the cool shit. Taking supplements, taking things to enhance the health of your organs is cooler than getting jacked up to go and fucking train. You know what I mean? Nootropics is cooler. Oh, you don't know? Let me explain why. You know what I mean? So I mean, everything we do is testing the market in some capacity. I put out a YouTube video about vegetables that did 2 million views. That let me know that people are open to healthier options and tactics in their everyday life. So it makes perfect sense for us to go with this, right? So our motivations was simply to put out the best possible product that we can that's not just meathead products. And no disrespect to meathead products, I'm still a meathead, you know what I mean? But I want longevity and grace. And I'm at an age to where I understand that if you don't get a hold on certain things, it's going to be when the doctor's telling you to do things, it's going to be a lot harder than if you would have just been taking those steps leading up. So, and the tests don't lie, you know what I mean? On ourselves.
We have people email us blood tests who take nectar and see their cholesterol go down. And we're not trying to make health claims, but see their bodies change and get healthier in a internal health capacity, not like body fat type of a capacity. And when you talk about why it had to be Ambrosia, it had to be something new. It couldn't be a continuation of HPN or I'm So Alpha or MTS. It had to be something completely new. It had to have no strings or burden attached to it about what HPN is or was, what I'm So Alpha is or was, what MTS is or was. Ambrosia had to be something completely new. It had to have no limitations on it. And we wanted to do it together from the ground up. No, oh, he started this and we all came in later,
Right.
this, that, the other. We did it together from zero, from zero, with very minimal like investment, monetarily speaking. We each put in an even amount of money to get started, and from there, because we've taken no income from Ambrosia, none, literally in over 2 years. If you saw the amount of inventory that it has now, it's crazy, but it's all solvent, it's all paid for because it started from nothing.
It's just a good. It's, when you make good decisions and you do good things happen. And so much is. This is the thing. This is a scary thing about Ambrosia. We still have yet to really do our big promotional push. Still, it's coming though, and it's doing so well. And people are identifying with it. People want. That's the thing that I see, and I know myself. Like I've always wanted to be associated or with the like health and being better and doing better. People want that, you know. People are they're screenshotting me, different things that I've talked about that they're implementing into their lives and Ambrosia. Like, are you proud of me? And I get it. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking proud of you. That's fucking legit. That's cool. Keep doing it. Do more. You know what I mean? Because they need people who they look at as cool to do things and present things and ideas that are really beneficial and let them know that that's cool. Like, it sounds so fucking goofy, but vegetables are cool. Like, me doing a video about vegetables and it doing so well, right? Still to this day, it let me know that that's what people want and need. People feel like a lot of business owners or executives feel like you go in a direction of the market. The market, like, nah, I don't believe in any of that. I don't care what the market is doing. We're creating the market. This is what. Oh, that's what they're doing. Oh, that's cool. That's weird. This is what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? What they would think is weird. And guarantee people. We've already seen people try to copycat, like literally, even the look. It's like, oh, this is funny. It's kind of sad.
It's funny you say that, Mark. There's there's a quote that Steve Jobs said, the late great Steve Jobs. The something that's always stuck with me is a lot of the time people don't know what they want until you show them.
I always say that.
Yeah, you know that?
They don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly how Apple operates. Because people are like, why do they change this plug? Why do they change that? It's because they know they've decided what they want you to want.
Right.
And we know
before you even know.
Somebody's got to decide.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. We started that with MassiveJoes. Like, we know that you want to perform better mentally, and that you're not operating at your peak capacity all day mentally. We know that most of you have about an hour a day where you actually have you seen Office Space, the movie? You work for about 45 minutes a day. We know that's true. So we're gonna help you double that, triple that.
Yeah.
We want to help with that. We know you don't take care of yourself. You don't want to take 10 different bottles of pills like many people's grandparents do here in the US. So we're gonna help you with that. Right. We know these things. We know that you're not monitoring your immune health. We're trying to solve problems that people aren't aware of yet. So that is what's cool about Ambrosia. Although it does operate very efficiently as a business, it's so entrepreneurial because all it is solving problems, solving problems. The things that we're about to solve, the problems that we're about to solve with our next level products, people don't even know their problems yet. Yeah. Just like you said, we're trying to identify things for people and help them with them.
Exactly.
So give us a rundown, guys, for viewers who aren't aware of the Ambrosia product line.
Right.
What does it look like at the moment?
Right now we had our very first product was MassiveJoes, which is a nootropic. And then we came out with Nectar, and I believe Overtraining Solution was right after, right?
Yeah.
Nectar is an organ support. We call this a complete health, human health supplement. Organ support. Overtraining Solutions is to help. I always say fuck overtraining, yada yada yada. You gotta overtrain. There is a medical condition called overtraining syndrome, right? So this is a product that really, Overtraining Solution is a product that really, it just jump starts your immune system to where that's not happening to you. You gotta really wanna that to happen to you if you're taking Overtraining Solution. You feel great, and you won't get sick. Like
one of my favorite supplements, man. Overtraining
Right,
Solution.
yeah.
I personally love that supplement.
Hey, it was one of the best days. It was one of the best, most exciting days when Joe sent me a picture that we had won or we had tied for the breakout supplement. I was like,
see,
we got one.
I was mad that I should have went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I should have went. I kept debating. Do I go?
The thing is that product, like this is how we bounce ideas off each other. Mike's whole concept that he came forward with was, fuck this idea of overtraining. You're not overtraining. Train harder than what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to call it Overtraining Solution because we wanted to say, look, there is no such thing for most of you, but when you do train really hard,
and you're not getting your rest.
Yeah, and you're not getting enough rest.
Yeah.
Maybe your nutrition's deficient. Maybe you travel a lot. Right. These are problems that, like with other products.
Because most likely everything else is why people are experiencing overtraining syndrome.
Mm-hmm. It's
not the training.
It's the lack of the other components being dialed in.
Yeah.
You do have a suppression of the white blood cell count, right? You do have a reduction sometimes in growth hormone levels. You do have some of these things that we can combat with this formula. And it works so well for people where they will utilize it and stop utilizing and be like, oh yeah, my capacity for recovery is different. All other variables held equal. So maybe they're about an 8 out of 10 on their diet. They're a 5 out of 10 on their sleep. These things don't change. We plug in OS. Which is why I like to call it OS and not Overtraining Solution now, because of the fact that I don't want people to be afraid of using it if they're not like trying to be a bodybuilder. Because again, I think I forced my parents to take, this is nectar, but I forced my parents to take Overtraining Solution because I want their immune system to be dialed in.
Right.
And there is an ingredient in Overtraining Solution that no one else has called Imulina, which is a patented extract from spirulina that can increase our NK cells. Those are natural killer cells that are the mercenaries of our immune system. There's something going on that's not supposed to be going on. That's who handles it.
When Sean found that ingredient, he was so excited about it. I
I
think I was on the plane.
you telling me.
The only company that utilizes it outside of us is a German pharmaceutical company, and they're using it as a disease treatment. It's us and them. That's it. This is a very expensive ingredient, and
you're getting it inexpensively.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we've got Mental Jewels, Nectar, Overtraining Solution,
Ritual.
and Ritual.
Yeah.
Is the fourth piece at the moment, right?
And Ritual is a morning drink that people can start their day with, regardless of how their day goes. I typically train first thing in the morning, and I drink Ritual with my coffee before I train. Mike does not train in the morning usually. He might if he's doing a double day, but other than that, he starts his day with it while still being fasted.
Yeah.
So it's very versatile. But what we're doing with Ritual is essentially combining a few concepts. Many people are familiar with like a bulletproof coffee where it's a high fat, super high calorie beverage where you're drinking it for maximizing cognitive function, allowing your brain to really operate at its best by keeping insulin levels low and giving yourself a ton of fat. Well, we've realized through our testing and tweaking with our formula that by using some exogenous ketones, the Go BHB patented version of it that's been tested with humans, again, this is very important because when you use BHB products that are not the patented version, you risk a lot of heavy metal contamination. You risk the fact that it could be coming with some lead, some arsenic, some cadmium, some mercury that you didn't intend to take. So we use the patented Go BHBs to get your ketone levels up because that's a better way of increasing cognitive function than just overloading fat. So we have a drink that has less than a quarter of the calories of a bulletproof coffee, but does more for your brain function. So it's a perfect way to start your day, like literally, or to pick up your afternoon, right? Depending on how your schedule goes. But it is a perfect drink.
And it's a versatile drink because you can mix it in, you can use it as a creamer for your coffee. Or
That's how I take it.
Right,
Yeah.
And I used to not take it like that, but now I am. Or you can do it with hot water, and it tastes as if it's coffee, you know? So, and we got a new flavor, orange juice.
The orange, yeah.
Right.
For people that don't
that's
drink
not
coffee.
into coffee, right.
They do exist.
I have my moments where I just don't want coffee.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's refreshing, it's cool, and it tastes like orange juice. When we were going through flavors, everything that we had was really good. And however, I I was like, all right, I hope y'all not stuck on anything else, so y'all gonna be mad at me because we gotta do orange juice because it tastes just like orange juice. You know what I mean? So I was like, that's it. We gotta do that.
All right, now guys. So with these 4 products from Ambrosia, so Ritual AM.
But do they have the 2 moons yet?
That's not for the podcast. That's still in development.
Right.
So with these 4 products, so the listeners who shop at MassiveJoes, which are all of the listeners, and if they're not, they better be.
Yeah.
Ritual AM we have in Australia in both flavors. Overtraining solution we have in Australia in both sizes.
You guys actually are the reason for the larger size.
We're the reason for the 100 serves, which is great to hear. Nectar, the complete organ health supplement we have in Australia in both flavors, the strawberry and the fruit punch. What's going on with the Mental Jewels?
We've as the listeners,
it's the OG product, and we're yet to have it.
As the listeners know, capsules are illegal. Not illegal. They're not regulated as supplements in Australia.
Correct.
Do y'all have supplements at all? I mean, capsule supplements from Australia in Australia?
We do, but the problem is as soon as you go from a powder supplement, which is classed as a food, to a capsule supplement, which is classed as a therapeutic good, there's a whole lot of regulations around what you can put in capsule supplements, like maximum dosages, ingredients you can use, can't use. Effectively, you can't use unapproved therapeutic ingredients in therapeutic goods, which makes it very tricky.
So confusing.
Very confusing.
For no reason.
So this means that if you want a formula that's meant to be in a capsule to be in Australia easily or conveniently or at an affordable price point, you have to put it into a powder. Well, Mental Jewels features 8 ingredients, all of which are, or I would say the majority of which are herbal ingredients that are very concentrated extracts, and this means that they taste very bitter or not palatable, and they're all in high dosages too, so you can't just cover them up very easily. So literally since we started Ambrosia, we have wanted to get Mental Jewels into a powder formula that would be approved by the team at MassiveJoes. And we've tried.
For the listeners, we've been working on this since Ambrosia started, right? And just in the meantime, Nectar has come out in 2 flavors, Overtraining Solution in 2 sizes, Ritual AM in 2 flavors, because we haven't been able to nail this Mental Jewels.
We've been dealing with this for a long time.
And I would be tasting so many versions of it. My brain is like on a different planet. I'm so elevated cognitively that I'm like, this tastes great. I just feel good.
And then you send it to me, I'm like, this is
really bad.
And then once you guys agree that it's good, you send it to us, and we're like, nah.
We're like, maybe they'll like this one.
Let's go back to the drawing board.
Every taste test thus far has gone wrong. But I'll say in January, I did have a breakthrough where I finally found, I think it's the beautiful combination to not even just like make it palatable, but make it delicious. The combination that we went with really plays off all the notes of the herbs that are in Mental Jewels and like makes them enjoyable. This is a drink this is the first time that I've ever thought that Mental Jewels could really be, the future of it could be a drink, not just like another option for Australia. It's so good that I think it could be the future of the entire product.
It could make the capsules obsolete.
It really could.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because it's so many ingredients in it. You have to a normal dosage is 4 capsules.
You gotta take a lot of capsules.
And that's a lot to a lot of people.
And they're not small. They're not baby pills either. They're full size capsules because we have a lot of active ingredient, but we need a lot of capsules. Because people were like, "Hey, can you put that in 2 capsules?" And we're like, not at full dosage,
huge capsules,
and not at full dosage either, probably because
suppository, like that.
For real.
So people want a formula that's more convenient. It'd be great if it could taste good, and I think that we've finally done it. Mike was actually in California. Usually I would mail samples to him and Mark, but Mike was here. I just walked up to him and was like, "Bro, you got to taste this." It was after a charity event that we did. He drank it. He goes, "Oh my God, what is this?" I was like, "That is Mental Jewels powder. I hope." I said, I hope. I might be crazy.
It was labeled that.
I hope. No, I hope that this is the final version. We gotta send it to Joe, and so we sent it to you guys. And
this is, so by the time this got to us, this is February. So this is back a couple of months ago now.
Right.
And we did a live tasting on the MassiveJoes Snapchat. but I haven't tried it since February. The tasting was successful. Now you've got here, this is a pretty cool way to finish off this podcast as well. You've got here on the table, you've got the very last sample.
This is the last sample
of the flavor.
Yeah.
Which is?
The flavor is cherry lime.
Cherry lime.
Cherry lime is
MassiveJoes powder. So I gotta go again, man.
You guys both.
Because I haven't tried it for 2 months. But I remember I was like, man, this is the one. So I just want to make sure now. Mike, are we cheersing?
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Let's get it in.
Even the smell is amazing.
Ah, that's the one.
That's it.
It's just as good as it was back in February.
Yeah.
That's it.
Man, we need to like stop recording this podcast now and go down to the manufacturing.
Right. Exactly.
So as people in Australia may have dealt with several times with products, sometimes the transit is very rough. The climate conditions aren't very good if it's going by sea, and we want to be ready because we really believe this product's going to explode over there to where we are going to have to send it by container, and we won't just be continuously air shipping it. So we want to be ready for that, and as such, we have to do stability testing to make sure that it can withstand time in that type of environment. So what you actually do is you put it in a room or a chamber that is simulating 6 months of extreme temperature variation in a short time frame, like a 1 month time frame. And that's undergoing right now. We're about 2 weeks out from that, and once we have confirmation, we already believe it's going to work. But once we have final confirmation, because we don't want anyone in Australia to get one of our products and be like, what is this hockey puck, or what is this solidified product? We want people to enjoy our stuff. The quality is everything to us. So we're going to complete that testing, bottle it up, and get it over there.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And we can't wait for it.
Fuck that, we're going to take it over there.
Yeah, we can carry
We're
it.
going to deliver it
And carry
ourselves.
it.
You may actually, the timing may work.
Yeah.
In time for, well, this has been an exclusive for the podcast, in time for the Ambrosia tour.
Yeah.
In June across Australia. So
Right.
you guys may hand carry it over. We should actually, you know what? We should use the tour to launch MassiveJoes Power.
Well, that's what I thought we would. Yeah, that's what my hope was.
Yeah.
There you go. Make
Does
it
it look
happen.
like you think?
No, I'm positive.
Okay.
I'm positive.
Yeah.
It's happening.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
So-
barring any like crazy unforeseen circumstances, we're going to be. It's going to be on its way by May 1 over there. So
Awesome.
we should be good.
And
Awesome.
it's crazy because nectar is so enjoyable to drink. And this is
I'm going to be combining.
This is another level
Yeah.
on top of nectar, I reckon, man.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the herb, like you said, the herbal, it playing off those herbal notes
Yeah.
is a whole new, you know. Yeah.
It's awesome. Sean, Mike, thank you guys so much, man. It's
Thank you,
been a fantastic chat,
Absolutely.
an enlightening chat. It's great to hear, you know, your fitness backgrounds, your business backgrounds, how everything's merged in, and how Ambrosia came about. I think it really gives, you know, it's given me a lot of insight, and I know you guys, so I can only imagine for the listeners, you know,
We're gonna have to call this part 1 because there's so much we didn't
There
get
is.
to.
Well, I wanted to podcast for an hour, and we've been going almost 2 now.
Yeah.
But
pretty-
there are 2 of you,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know, you get an
Double.
hour each.
Right,
Double
right.
trouble. But guys, you have to check out the full line of Ambrosia supplements online at MassiveJoes.com. Nectar in both flavors, overtraining solution in both sizes, Ritual AM in both flavors, and soon to be released MassiveJoes powder in cherry lemonade. Guys, thank you once again. It's been an awesome chat.
Excellent.
You guys, and then, man,
We're gonna see everyone over there in just
in
a couple
June.
months.
Yeah.
We can't
I'll
wait.
see everybody.
Oh, yeah, you'll
in
be
a
there
couple weeks.
sooner.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll be in Sydney.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I'll see
Cool.
you there.
All
I'll
right,
be in
perfect.
Sydney too
All
at
right,
the same
perfect,
time.
perfect.
All right, guys, thank you for listening. As always, we're coming to you from MassiveJoes.com.
Stay massive, motherfuckers.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the MassiveJoes Show. Make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform, whether it be SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, Stitcher, or TuneIn. And if you enjoyed listening to this episode of the MassiveJoes Show, ensure that you give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcasting platform. Until next time, we're coming to you from MassiveJoes.com.